Hey there everyone, it's Calvin. Thanks for checking out the video. Today is Tuesday, January 29th, 2013. I didn't do an update today for the SPY and whatnot and some charts. Pretty much sitting on the sideline with cash. But I do have a request from YouTube. I believe it's from Got My Horns Up. So he wants to take a look at AFFY. It's a biotech stock. Personally, I don't trade these things. They're just too volatile to me. It seems that any day some news can come out and move the stock up or down in a big way, big volatility prone stocks. But you know, if you do your research, you really can make it. You can make a killing and really knock it out of the ballpark. And right now he's telling me he's short, so let's take a look at AFFY. As you guys all know, I like to look at the bigger time frame first. I mean, you don't know where you're going until you know where you've been. Okay, so this stock obviously started trading in the $40 level, sold off nicely, and now we're in this kind of this big range. Okay, it's this range from, see how it made this pivot high, and now it just can't close above it on a monthly chart. So this is your $25, obviously your resistance, and your support is way down to the $4 level. Once again, I just like to look at the bigger pattern first, and then I'll break it down to the smaller patterns. But right now, what I'm seeing on a bigger pattern, more macro sense, is you are getting an inverse head and shoulder potentially. I mean, it hasn't formed yet, but what I'm seeing is it could be potentially a left shoulder, a big head, and a right shoulder could be forming on the way down here. But I also see an inside bar pattern as well. So this bodes negative because you have a big sell-off candle, you made a nice base, and now you're kind of retraced up. You don't have the correct candles inside this inside bar pattern, so I wouldn't really categorize it as an inside bar pattern because you don't really have the pattern. But nonetheless, you do have this sell-off candle. I believe you did close back above it, so that would actually make it a neutral. You would not like to see it close back above this inside bar, red candle, sell-off candle, and higher volume. So that's that would actually bode neutral because you close actually with this candle above the high of this candle. So okay, nothing really going on there, but nonetheless, potentially it could be an inverse head and shoulders, and that would target this thing way back up to probably the highs of the chart. Let's look at the weekly chart. Weekly chart is uptrending, so the weekly chart is in an uptrend. You look at the moving averages, they kind of dictate that. Let's go to the daily chart, and I can break it down more on a smaller time frame for you. Okay, from what I see, you are short this pattern, this chart, this stock right now, looking pretty decent right now. Okay, the stock obviously is in an uptrend here. Okay, it's holding this trend line with the 200-day moving average. So if you really want to start seeing weakness in the stock, it has to break to 200. Okay, this is pretty much the last line in the sand before this becomes a breakdown candidate. Okay, right now we are in this channel from the highs that we made in October, and it's still just kind of steadily grinding down in this channel. So this is where the range that it's trading in currently. You can make a case that it's a small downtrend that it's in, but it's inside a bigger uptrend. See, if you look at the move, the more macro pattern, it's an uptrend because look at this move it recently had. But a smaller micro pattern is a downtrend. It you can make a case that it's just a small consolidation pullball. Okay, but right now, stock is looking okay because it's still above the 200. Now, if it breaks the 200, then yeah, this thing can go down really quickly to the 50% retrace, which I believe is the next level. It's also the measured move off this. If you measure this move with an additional move down, additional leg down, this would be your measured move at the $15 level. So this would be like an ABC pattern. The charts stocks like to trade in patterns or waves. Okay, and you can always measure out the pattern. So if you measure this move out, ironically, once again, see, it's amazing how these measured moves line up with previous support resistance. So if this case, if it trades in this channel, it can kind of slowly make its way to the $15 level. It lines up with this pivot high as well. It's also the measured move of this wave. So that's pretty fantastic thing right there. The first thing you want to see is it to break this trend line. That's the first thing, and I think it has a chance to because it already kind of got there. So whenever you kind of already hit the level, see, you can almost hit the 200 here, almost hit the 200 here. When it actually hits it, it's minor. So this level is no longer strong support. Even kind of on, I believe I looked at ELLI for you. I said the 200 was a little weaker. I'm sorry, I'm jumping back and forth, but really quickly, I said that it already touched it here, so it's not as strong. And sure enough, you're breaking through it. But if you do look at the levels that I called out, I called the 200. Got a small micro bounce, weak. That's a very weak sign right there. That's your first signal that the 200 might fail because it's such a weak bounce you got. Also, this pivot What did we do here? We stalled out right there, so that held for 1 day. And once that didn't hold, so much weakness, and now we're flushing through right to the next level, the 382 retrace. See, all these levels kind of just line up, and they're all playing out perfectly. So we're right at the 382 retrace, getting a small pop, and the measured move of this head and shoulder pattern is 19, roughly in this area. So we are headed to support. Currently, we are at the weekly 50. Okay, but I'm jumping around. So let me go back to AFFY. So I'm not gonna be jumping around here. Sorry about that. Let's go back to the daily chart. That was just to show you an example how moving averages get weak after you kind of get there already. You kind of touch it already. So I'm anticipating if this breaks, this could be a triangle here as well with a lower high. But if this breaks, look for a further downside to the target of this 3-wave here, 1, 2, 3 wave pattern to roughly the 50% retrace. Okay, and like you always use the fibs as nice reference points and line them up with very important support and resistance. So that would be my next area right here, $16 to $15. If this moving average and trend line breaks, okay, which pretty much connects all the way from the this whole up move. Okay, so that's going to be a very important trend line to watch, and it lines up with the 200-day moving average, so it adds more strength to it. So that will be your first signal that this stock is in breakdown mode. Right now, it's still holding up to 200, so I have a neutral bias right now. But if it does break this 200, you have a great trade on your hands. I'm not sure your entry, but right now it's looking okay. Usually, it should hold up. Usually the third hit right here. This, I don't know your entry, but third hit of this, when you have a declining channel, the third hit of it, when you connect the straight line all the way across the third time, it's usually a great sell. So that would have played out well if that was your entry, but I'm not sure where your entry was. But either way, looking okay so far. Just has to break the 200-day moving average and that trend line, and then in my opinion, it's going right to these to this level, 16, 15 bucks. And if their next area of support would be the 618. Let me look at the weekly chart and make sure there's no other supports there. Let's see. You have, yeah, that's going to be very hard to break through because you also have the 50-week moving average, which is minor as well because, like I said, you already kind of got there. It's only major when you get there on an extended move and a first hit. That's the only time it's major. Right now, you kind of already trading parallel with these moving averages, so they're minor. They are now minor, so now you have to just watch that this might break through. Okay, first hits only. See, you already kind of hit it here, hit it here. This almost lines up with the 200-day moving average on the daily chart. So I would see that as kind of minor support. So look for it to break through these supports, and then your next level would be right here, and ultimately the 618 with the, you know, I like to look at weekly candles, igniting bars, and you have one here. So the low of that candle near the low with a 618 retrace with a nice base of consolidation. That's going to be a great spot with a 200-day moving average as well. So anywhere in the next vicinity, I mean, your next drop, if the 50% fails, look for the 618 with the 200-day moving average, which is right around 1355 with 1287. Okay, let me draw those in so you can see it visually. So roughly with a 200 here, that will be your spot after if the 50% breaks. The 618 will be your next level, roughly in this general vicinity over here. Okay, and then so pretty much support 1, support 2 with 1615, support 2, and then support 3 at 1355 and 1256, roughly. Okay, so those are your levels on the downside. It's looking it's looking okay so far. If you're short, just have to see how it all plays out. I know a lot of traders get too caught up with their gains, so make sure you are peeling profits as you hit these support levels. Okay, and you can always re-enter on a bounce and re-short it. Okay, if you believe it is going down in the longer term. Okay, I think that's everything I want to look at on AFFY. Might as well update you a little bit more before I go on the first stock that I was mentioning. We did confirm below the 200-day moving average. Okay, remember I told you we get a nice secondary close below the low of that candle. Now, if you extrapolate this 200-day moving average right here, like I have right here, it will now be resistance. So if let's say you wanted to peel some off here at 382 retrace, you want to just take some profits. You already got a nice run here. So let's say you took off a portion, and if it retests that 200, like on a nice sideways bearish pattern, you could re-short it right there. You could re-enter right there because that's going to be resistance now because you confirmed below that 200 and the stock's looking weak. You have a bigger pattern telling you there's further downside. So any kind of bounce, you could look to re-short it and get to that level. Okay, so but we are at the 382 retrace, so that is support, and you're also into the 50-week moving average. Okay, so that's also going to be support. That's going to be actually pretty major because it's the first hit, and it didn't even get close to hitting it. So this is pretty much a pretty extended move. You almost have a time count, not quite, but nonetheless, the stock is into support. Okay, this and then the $20 even number too is going to be another psychological number. Let's see how the price reacted when it got to 20 bucks. See how it pulled back at 20 bucks, pulled back, and eventually it broke out. So when it comes back over there, it's going to be now support as it was resistance on the way up. Okay, with the 382 retrace. Okay, so these levels are still the same, 50%, 618. So just look after that. Looks like a good trade so far. Congratulations. Let me know if you have any more questions. All you guys, any questions, put them in the ticker. Put the ticker symbols in the comment box. I would love to go over them. Hope you guys have a great evening. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.